Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. And joining us today is Sherry Jackson, founder of Envisage Wellbeing, coach and clinical hypnotherapist who blends business strategy and mindset work to help people around the world thrive. Welcome to the show, Sherry.
Thank you, Tim. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. So you have a practice. You're largely in Scottsdale area. Is that right?
Yes, I'm based in Scottsdale. I see people in person, but I also have a clientele that is international.
Okay, so virtual work as well.
Yes, I do virtual work as well. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you find one easier than another or more challenging anyway?
You know, I really like that blend of both because I love that in-person transmission that you get, and you can really be bespoke. You can really tailor things for that person that's right in front of you. And at the same time, I love it when we're virtual too, because people are in their environment, and we can even create groups in those situations, and you get the support of the group. So I like it both. That way I don't get bored with one modality.
Okay, sure. Okay. Some variety.
Yeah, I like variety.
I imagine there's something to be said for being in person too, though, right? That there's a little more benefits for some approaches anyway.
I agree. It depends. Like when you get into some of that deeper work and you're really, and some people just need to get out of their environments too, right?
Right.
That makes a difference. Like context is important. You know, for the people who have to go to the gym to work out, it's the context. I really appreciate those people who can work out at home. I'm one of those people who needs the context at the gym.
Yeah, I struggle with it too. It depends, even just different tasks. I like to have an area for deep work or thought and stuff somewhere else away from all the busy emails and all the stuff that can be distracting. And even though I can technically turn it off, there's still something that's hard to shut off in my own head. I
can relate. I have the same thing. I've really worked on cultivating being a little bit more diversive in that, but when I'm really doing that deep work, I've got my space, and it's kind of like a little getaway.
Awesome. So can you give us a snapshot of sort of your business right now?
So my business right now is an integrative coaching and hypnotherapy practice. I work with high achieving individuals and couples in that practice of removing any barriers that are getting them to that next level. When we work with high achievers, you know that difference between, 95 and 100% is a lot bigger than 70 to 80%.
Right.
So I love working with that group of people. A lot of times it's a focused intervention on getting them to that place where maybe there's some anxiety, or they think that motivation is the problem. And so that's what I really love to focus on. Okay.
Like a lot of things, you're too close to the issue to really see it or be objective.
100%. Anyone who is a high performer, really anyone in life, whenever we do something, all the greats have some kind of coach or they're always learning and growing. Like we've all heard that new level, new devil, right? We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Right.
That's a good, Tom Brady, for example, right? Love him or hate him. I never really rooted for the Patriots per se, but he embodied sort of that long-term growth mindset that showed up, right? That helped him be successful. But he always talked about, because a lot of people think if you're the best quarterback in the world, you don't need a coach anymore. He's like, no, I have more coaches than anybody, right? That's how I became so good, right? And he has the head coach, the offensive coach, the quarterback coach, his personal trainer, right? And it just keeps going on. And that's how you keep leveling up.
100%. And that's the other part is you get to this level of success and people stop challenging you sometimes. And you keep getting that, okay, yes, whatever you think. And so you need that person who can meet you and stretch you and make you see those blind spots that we all have.
For sure. And that's actually a big part of not just success but happiness and being, purpose, right? Is a big part of it is the next challenge and growth, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a big part. That's the thing I think that drives us all. But I really had that opportunity to realize that. At one point, I had left the corporate world, and because it was this combination of my personality, that drive to achieve and overdo, and the level of responsibility that I had, which is exactly what I wanted, I was in a state of burnout, and I hadn't realized it yet. And I learned at that point that I ended up leaving, even though this was one of those opportunities where I got to challenge one of my blind spots. And I left thinking that I was going to take the short break. And that's when I got to go traveling with my husband, and we did all these little adventures. And in that, I realized I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have a reason to get up in the morning.
You got in touch with yourself again.
Yes. And I did a lot of work on myself, and that's what brought me back to doing what I'm doing. So purpose is really important.
For sure, for sure. What do most people, when they or whether or not how most people find you, but maybe what most people that you want to help need to know, where they, what resonates with them where they decide to reach out?
So it's really funny. That's a great question, because a lot of my clients come as referrals from their naturopathic doctor or their physician, and they'll come in with something like, well, I can't sleep, and we've done all the things, or it's really kind of the surface stuff, because that's one of those things that as high achievers, it's hard to admit, like, they're not going to come in saying, I feel like I'm falling short. So it's these things like, oh, I'm feeling a little anxious, I'm more stressed out, I can't sleep. That's how it tends to show up, or
manifests,
through a referral.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we kind of peel it away, and we get into, there's always something underneath. There's always something underneath.
Right. Right. Okay. So, what would you say is the age of your average client?
The age of my average client, I see them probably around, like, I love that entrepreneur who's like 35 and killing it, and they want to level up, and all the way into people who are near the, what people would think they're near the end of their career in their 50s.
Right.
And they still have so much more, and it's a different set of challenges. Right. So I've got a nice wide range.
Okay. I imagine that's a big part of it. I mean, for me, it was similar, because I, had another career and was successful in there, and I pivoted, and it's not just a hedonic life where you just sit on the beach drinking cocktails all day, right? I need something with meaning, and you may have reached the end of a successful, right? You sold your company or something, you had a successful exit or something, and now you're like, now what? And it's not just sitting on the golf course all day either. I mean, no. I enjoy golf, but that sounds like, I'd imagine there'd be a lot more of that in the 50s, for example, and 60s, people who are trying, or they still want to transform into the next phase.
Yeah, there is. There's that, the ones who just want to keep doubling down, and the ones who, I see this sometimes in the younger, like the 40 or 45-year-olds who really had a lot of success, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do my exit and just like live on the beach. And I'm like, hey, you can do what you want, but you're going to, knowing you
after a couple
and
weeks
your
of
lifestyle,
that,
you're going to need something. Maybe you don't need to spend as much time doing it, but trust me, you need to start figuring out what's next. Right. And the same thing with the retirees or people who I love empty nesters, right? Because then it's like, wow, we've been creating this family and this career, and now everything's changing. Our focuses are changing. What do we do next? Those are great challenges, because there's so much opportunity in there.
Right. That's a good way. Yeah, that's a good frame. And also, you said referrals. You get a lot of that from different people. That's awesome. I always love getting referrals. It's like
referrals are great. And it's like, I'm so grateful for the referrals I get, and I'm doing a lot more like cold work on social media now with attracting a different clientele, and it's a totally different way to operate. But yeah, so I get a lot of referrals from naturopathic doctors. They're some of my best friends, because, these people come in and they're like, okay, my health's off, and they get all their hormones straightened out or whatever they need, and there's still, it wasn't the full picture. And they're like, hey, you need to talk to Sherry. And I'm really glad to step in at that point and be able to help them with that.
Okay. Yeah, you're your mind and body are bind body and mind. They are it's the physiology, right? Stress is real, right? All that stuff manifests in all sorts of ways.
Well, that's the thing. Like what we think, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
real or imagined, our body believes it. So if we're
Right.
repeating stressful thoughts or negative thoughts, replaying, overthinking, you're living in that chemistry. And
For
so
sure.
you've got this feedback loop that just keeps taking you where you don't want to go.
What are some of the common misconceptions with your practice, right? Being a hypnotherapist, maybe.
Well, that's a great question because a lot of people will come. Nobody comes to me for hypnotherapy. They come for results.
Right.
Now, hypnotherapy is one of the best ways to get results. And so they're kind of a little skeptical. They're like, well, are you going to control my mind? And I tell them what I told my
No.
husband, right? Hey, if I could do that, I've been doing it a long time ago, right? And like hypnotherapists would control the world. We'd have all the money and everybody would be our like little slaves. Your unconscious mind is never going to do anything that you won't allow it to do. And a lot of times people will see the stage hypnotists who are amazingly smart people. There's so much more going on there than what is happening on the stage. They know how to select the right person.
Right.
And, I love hypnosis. I go into it well, but you will never see me on a stage clucking like a chicken. It's just not in my personality. I'm just not that fun. There are people who want to go out and like let go and have that amount of fun. And they're the absolute best, what you could call subject for that environment, and which leads to a perception of that person controlling them.
Right. Right.
So that's the biggest thing is people are a little bit
suggestion.
worried. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
They're defensive. I see.
Yeah. Or they're worried that they're not going to be able to do it. Well, the other thing is, if you're a human being, you're in and out of trance all day long. Like we can be in trance having this conversation. That's part of what I do, conversational hypnosis. We can, and have you ever driven home and wondered how you got there? You're driving a car and you're in hypnosis, right? There's so many things that are programmed automatically. And I think that's the thing that also messes with our heads because we can be doing something and we think, well, we're conscious beings, which we are. But there are unconscious programs and habits that we have that we've developed over time, either in childhood or by repeating things over and over again. And it's just like breathing. We don't have to think about it and it happens automatically. So we might just go into the pantry and grab that donut mindlessly, even when we don't want to eat sugar.
Right. Even when we're not hungry.
Yeah, even when we're not hungry. Perfectionism is a big one that I think hides in there.
I'll say this, you mentioned it, is I have noticed that at night when I crave sugar, when I realize it's just because I'm tired, my body subconsciously knows that that's some quick energy. Mm-hmm. That I'm like, I'm not hungry and I don't want this, but I'm just tired and I can find some other way to do it. Just being aware of it is a huge value.
You're right. Awareness is a big part. And that's a lot of what this work. You can use your subconscious to bring the conscious awareness and you bring the two together. You can have some really amazing quick changes. And I say that you can have some really early wins, but it's not always just one and done.
Right. There's, we all have projects we avoid that we put off or something. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I just sit down for a minute and I'm like, okay, I did all the easy stuff. Now I have to get on this one. I just sit down for a minute and try to think about how am I going to do this? And I realize my jaw's tense and all sorts of stuff. Like, oh, wow, why is that? And I'm all, there's all these telltales that I've never been aware of until you actually just stop for a second and look for it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like the body is holding the memories. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One other thing you did mention, one of the things that people show up in my office for, this is actually one of my favorites, is I need more motivation. Oh, a high achiever doesn't need more motivation. There's something in there, in that circuit that's kind of blowing things up. Most of the time, it's not that they need more motivation. There's some kind of like internal block.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what are the challenges in helping people find those blocks and overcome them?
Basically it's a willingness. If they're willing, if they want an outcome, and they show up, that's really, sometimes, if we've had a problem for a long time, everybody unwinds differently. Sometimes people can just have some really quick wins. Other times, like what I like to say is they'll back up the dump truck and just fill it up with all the garbage and start something new. Where other people, they might take a shovelful at a time. And I've even met some people who are like, they'll take like a teaspoon. I don't work with a lot of people like that, but I always like to check in because I'm one of those people that I'm looking for the dump truck. Let's fill that up. But yeah, so everybody unwinds at their own rate.
Right. That's interesting because I've over the years learned that because there's so many people, I'm sure you can help, but if they aren't prepared to, you can't. They just what's the saying, right? You can open the door, but they have to walk through it.
Exactly.
I think more with my kids, right? I can lead them to water, but I can't make them drink. And I'm like,
that's one of my favorites.
I can make them thirsty though.
Yes. That's one of my things. And yeah, and that is the thing that I sort out. Like, I only work with people who I know are going to get some kind of result. I can't guarantee it, but if they have certain qualities, they show up, they're determined. Right. Those qualifiers are definitely important. Mm-hmm.
Right. I want to help everybody, but I've learned that I'll put a hand down, but you have to reach out. You have to do your part.
Yeah. Because there's that whole idea of there are some people who, for whatever reason, there's no judgment there. That's just where they need to be, and they want to be there, and they're not ready to move out. And who are we to force that? Yeah.
Well, good luck trying sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even possible.
But yeah, that's so. I imagine. Wow. You sit in that unique spot where you help people who they've reached out because they want to change, but they have to do the deep work. You have to help them.
Yeah.
Like you said, figure out what's in their past that there's what's behind them that's affecting their future.
Yeah. Yeah, and the nice thing about hypnosis is you don't have to know it all. Like we don't have to go deep and like we're going to talk about things. Like I love that integrative approach. It's very effective. However, we don't need to know at 5 years old you decided that you needed to please your mom and be perfect and follow all the rules, and that's why you're killing yourself and overworking and overachieving. And what happens is then this belief comes in with, well, this is my superpower. If I give it up, I'm going to lose my success. Or I'm going to lose my edge. I was that person. And then you realize, it doesn't have to be that hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Benjamin Hardy has written some books with Dan Sullivan. Are you familiar with their work?
Yes.
Okay. So, for our listeners, you may or may not know, Who Not How. Then Benjamin Hardy, 10x is easier than 2x, but the one I'm thinking of is, I think it's just Benjamin Hardy's Be Your Future Self or something like that, which, it's kind of right where you were just saying is you don't have to dive in and spend years talking about your childhood and your past, but it does help to sort of know what you're feeling and know where you want to go and reframe your past to start working forward anyway.
Yeah, you've outlined the process. The first point is you pull up the dump trucks, you get rid of the old garbage, but then you can't stop there.
You can't live there.
No, it's like you need, that's the first temporary part. And then it's like, because we a lot of times spend ours looking at the gap, right? Like, what is it we need to do next? What's wrong? No, what is it? Who do you want to be? And you start being it. Like, what would a person who, makes 100K a month, what do they do? How do they behave? How do they think? Not the old way.
Right. Do they stay up all night watching Netflix?
Yeah.
Probably not. So.
Right? Yeah. They've learned the power of sleep and taking care of themselves and catching things and being present and lots of things.
Right.
Yes.
Awesome. Good stuff. So what are your goals for 2026?
That's a great question. 2026, I'm really diving in even harder. I just got back from a mastermind with my coach, and I'm really looking to make my impact deeper, my results even better, if possible, shortening some time frames, and then giving that kind of support as people need as they phase out of the immediate work. I'm also building my my relationship group online. I'm working with some women who really want to change their relationship, but their husbands aren't really on board with it, and how they can influence their relationship positively without dragging them to therapy. So that's one of my big projects that I'm going to learn, that I'm going to lean into this year.
That I'm sure there's a big market for that. That's always because not everybody in the relationship keeps growing and has the same, you're not the same people you were 20, 30 years ago, right? And it's that's the goal, I guess, really,
It is,
to
yeah. It's to
continue to
have
grow together.
that shared vision. And, it sounds really, there's this thing that happens with basically many couples, right? We turn into this, especially when we are high achieving, that we're focused on growth and goals and raising a family, and we get in the business of the relationship, and the relationship can get on the back burner. And there's the other person, if they don't feel like they have the time or the energy to sit in, there's a lot of scariness around sitting in couples coaching or couples therapy, and I completely understand it, because there's a lot of times when it doesn't work. And so if that one person can show up differently in the relationship, that they're getting rid of their baggage, if they're nagging, if they're complaining, if they're telling their spouse all the time. Like, a lot of times what we do in an effort to make things better, as women, we tell our mates like everything that they could do better. Well, as a man, a lot of times what they hear is, I'm doing it wrong, I'm failing, my job is no, and they don't want to hear it. Like, it's just too much. So to be able to show up a little bit differently and be able to get that message across so that you can create this connection again, changes everything. And it doesn't have to be stressful.
Right. Right. That's a worthwhile pursuit.
Well, I've had a lot of women in my practice that we've been doing it for a long time. And I'm like, if we put together a group and do this together, it's even supercharged.
Right. Awesome. That's great. That's great. Circling back to sort of the vision work, right? Which is kind of really what hypnotherapy is, right? You're just trying to reach different states of relaxation and focus where you can, I think we've known this for decades, right? How important it is, how valuable it can be, but it's that becoming your future self now type of mindset, right? It's envisioning what that looks like, what that future, what you want, figuring out what you want, some clarity, I guess, too.
Yeah, 100%. It's great for clarity. It's like, a lot of times people will use it like, I don't even know what my next step forward is. Well, guess what? This work is great for that.
Right. That's awesome. That's so valuable. So valuable. Okay. So, what are your thoughts on growing your business and sort of beyond your focus for couples and stuff in the new year? But do you have a good size that you or do you want to grow your skill set and bring on somebody else?
I am bringing on
Scale.
a therapist from Canada. Actually, he's actually related to me, but it's because he's competent. He works with a lot of men, and sometimes men want a man. A lot of times men do want a woman, but for those people who want men, and he's very highly skilled, and so I'm going to bring him on. Lindsay Youngs is already on my team. She's doing a lot of the same work that I'm doing, and so I'm growing the team in that way, but I want to do it very strategically. And so once Reggie comes on, we'll onboard him in the new year and support his growth and expand out. Then we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay, excellent. Here's a question I like to ask some people is, have you done anything this year that's changed your life?
Oh my gosh, yes. I just came back from a mastermind and retreat in Zihuatanejo, Mexico with my coach. And it brought health practitioners like me from all over the world together. There were 20 of us. None of us had ever met before. And it was just so great to be in a room with high performers doing with the same things that you are, with the same challenges, and then putting our heads together on what is that next phase of growth. And to be honest, I'm still processing it. Like, we're all kind of getting together and meeting behind the scenes and implementing the concepts that we took away, right?
Yeah. That means there's a lot there. There's a lot of content. You're still processing it. That's good.
Yeah, and it was such a beautiful environment too. We were so lucky.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So
yeah, I love growth. It's a big part of what I do. I'm a lifelong learner. Kind of like you, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So how do you what are sort of your legacy plans for the future with your practice, or trying to scale all that?
My legacy plans are to be able to serve more people. And so that means building my practice and that international, more of that digital way of mentorship, creating groups and supporting and things in that way. Also through developing other therapists doing what I'm doing. And because my mission, I love people, and I want to have that impact of changing someone's life. But at the end of the day, I know it's not me who's changed them. I've given them the tools. They have to do it. It's like they're the ones who have to do it. But I love to be that catalyst. And the more people that I can impact is my goal.
Right. That's awesome. And like this podcast, right? This sort of media I'm trying to lean into it more myself. It's not, as a nerd and a little more, I don't think I'm as introverted as I used to be. I'm getting a little better at that. But I found out that most people are introverted, apparently, a little over half. But it's surprising how the more vulnerable I am, I guess, the more of me I put out there, which I'm surprised people want to see me sometimes. but they do, and they sort of some people they find my content and they go find a bunch of it and devour it, and then they reach out and they want to invest with me without ever having talked to me, which surprises me. I'm like, no, we need a phone call first, but at least But it's very effective. It's very effective. People are looking for connection always.
Yeah, and that was one of the things in this retreat was the connection, right? And I'm really working on being able to get, do the content, make the videos, and all of that kind of stuff. Because if for a while it felt self-indulgent, but I get it. It's like people need that. So
right? It's I don't I'm taking selfies all the time or something.
I know, and I feel
everyone,
creepy, right?
Everyone
I'm
to
like,
watch.
But and so this year has. I've really been working on that, and so that's my big thing for the year, actually.
Awesome! Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's a little bit on this wrap up question. Is things you wish you would have known sooner for building wealth or success earlier in your career?
I think to speak up, right? I'm really great at being the diplomat, and I think I took that role a little bit too far. I think if I'd have been bolder sooner, I would have, in many ways, I consider myself a late bloomer. At the same time, I think everything that I've done has led me to where I am, and I'm grateful for all of my experiences. But I wish I would have been a little bit bolder sooner. I think I could have moved my timeline up a little bit more.
Right. Right. Okay. That's a good one. I can relate to that as well. It depends on the arena. I'm pretty bullish on some things, but in other things, I'm very agreeable, and I've tried to. I can step up and lead when necessary, or I can follow if that's what which I thought was a good thing. But when it's when it's hurting and slowing the bulk of us down, it's not good. That's exactly it. Because I thought I was I was a strong leader, and I was like, okay, well, I want to leave room for everybody else. Right.
So I'd step back, but no, they just need to step up.
That's awesome. Okay, Sherry, if people would like to connect with you and learn more, where can they go? What should they do?
The easiest place to connect with me is on my website at envisagewellbeing.com. Links to my socials are there, and all kinds of information about me and links and good things. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Sherry Jackson, for joining me.
Well, thank you, Tim. This has been such a pleasant experience talking about connection. This is great. Thank you.
Right. Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.